A very warm welcome to you. Many thanks for joining us on this week's edition of the program. As you know, we remain your number one source for all the latest happenings in the world of business. My name is Margaret Mary Osibor. You're welcome. On the lineup this week, we joined Faith and her guests on the town hall for the continuation of their explosive session on gender equality. Is the insurance industry improving for women? While there have been a lot of changes in the insurance industry, it is still a long and tough road for women to make it to the top in a male-dominated industry such as insurance. Do take a listen.
When you don't act on impulse, you are a leader, you are a servant, and you should understand people's emotion, people you're working with. You must know their makeup, know their strength, know their weakness, because they're your tools. The human resources you're working with, they are your tools. You have to delegate. So in order to delegate, you must understand their personality traits.
On this edition also, we will bring you excerpts of the Pre-Insurance Industry Consultative Council 2018 Mega Conference press briefing, which took place recently at the Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, CIIN. The 2018 Mega Conference is billed to take place in Abuja from the 8th of July 2018. The annual IICC Mega Conference is the biggest platform that brings together policymakers and operators in the Nigerian insurance industry. Do take a listen.
When there are issues, not only in the insurance industry, in this country, let the press realize the fact that this pen that they have and they hold can do a lot in resolving those issues. So I will enjoy you to also help us look deeply into issues within the insurance industry. Don't let us make it an annual thing that it's only when we have a conference that we talk about insurance. Let us talk about insurance and build a formidable financial institution out of it.
Plus, of course, all the other extras we bring you each week on this program. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the lineup. Details in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Listen up as Faith Owode brings you our Pidgin English program, Wetin Insurance They Do Sef, with different guests every week, airing live on Naija FM 102.7 at 9:45 a.m. every Wednesday.
How do you even overcome that stereotype? Because it's what we say, not just even here. If you see a woman at the top, men tend to stereotype, oh, she has either slept her way to get there or something. And sometimes I get very offensive in certain cases and I say, do you mean that women are so dumb, they just can't get anything on their own, or they have to sleep to get to wherever they are? So, but my question is, how do women overcome that challenge of stereotype? Oh, she's there, she must have done something with some other man for her to be in that position.
The ceiling will always be there. I don't know when it will end. But we ourselves, we are doubling our effort. In fact, I would say we are tripling our efforts these days. Because intellectually, women are not inferior. When it comes to the soft skills, we are neither inferior. In fact, we are better placed. When it comes to persuasion, selling, talking. Yes, politically at the boardroom, we might not be there yet, but we are learning, and we are learning very fast. So, whatever game the men are playing, I can assure you that we can play it better, but we need to be equipped. That's the number one way by which we can break the ceiling. If I need 2 degrees or a professional qualification to qualify for a particular job, right? Then I will have 3. So that I will have 3. I will combine that with my experience.
Can I add to what my sister is saying? The last qualifying exam as associate examination, the induction that was held in December 2017, 843 women qualified in the associate. And out of, we had, although we had 3,230 qualifiers, but 26% of them were women, 843. Also, when it got to the fellowship, we had 4 fellows. 3 of them were women. We had just a man. So we have to study to show ourselves approved, so that this man will respect us.
Okay, now you still find that sometimes when women take all the pains, because it's always not easy for them balancing the whole front and trying to, make a difference in where they find themselves in offices or as a profession. Oftentimes in some organizations, you still find the women do all this, put in this effort, and it's still almost impossible for them to be pushed to that, desired position. Why is that so, you think?
It's not just in insurance industry. Let me even start with presidency. I was reading a report on the global, gap on gender equality, and found out that 68% of the world has moved. They say it has closed up. So it means that most countries have actually made effort towards, addressing this, because it's a global issue. It's not just a Nigerian issue.
Of course, the likes of Lloyds is only now that they produce a female chief executive.
And coming down to Nigeria, in 2015, when Buhari was going to appoint ministers, only 6 ministers out of 36 were appointed. So that alone speaks volume. So it's something that we really have to be determined. Now, you are in an office where you can't seem to break. You just have to keep making that effort. Now, if you find out that it is really so closed up, there are other companies, you have the qualification, you seek employment somewhere else. You make yourself marketable. And that is why we advocate, even within our association, you have to show yourself really ready. Opportunity meets somebody that is ready. You don't just sit down and expect to be picked. So when you are that qualified, you have read what you're supposed to read, and you have the gainful experience, then you can seek employment somewhere else. It is when you are about to leave, they start to tell you how valuable you are. They begin to plead that you stay, that you are very valuable and all that, but then, it's already too late. So I would advise women really, once you have gotten the required experience and you have gotten the qualification, if that place, there's no space for you, you should really look for employment. Do something, because destiny is looking at you. The more time you while away, the more time you don't get anything professionally, just staying in one place. So it's to look for a place where you'll be appreciated. And you find out when you get to a place where you have space to show your skills or to excel, women really do well. Women really do well. Same as Sodukale. Women really do well when they bring out themselves, to show themselves approved, really.
Okay, Mrs. Adebi, oftentimes when I sit with men and with the issue of gender equality, they say, you this women, all you do is just cry. You go to Beijing, you go and cry. What do you want? Women are not, oftentimes they are not even interested in leadership positions. Is that a fact?
It's a fact. Some women are not just interested. Just like some men too, they are laid back. So, but right now, with the advent of education and access to information, and with shows like this and talk like this, women are now beginning to see themselves as individuals that, look, I have potentials, and I have to profit with my potentials. A man is there, he's doing it wrongly, and I can do it better. Why not apply for that post and prove yourself? These days, women don't cry. If I thought we cry, we don't cry to men again. We cry in our closet. No, it was in those days. Well, but now we are more sophisticated. We are not more enlightened. We are more exposed. Then, in fact, we are more educated. We now realize that, look, we have more potentials than the men are telling us. As individuals now, you know your potentials. I know my strong points. She knows us. And we are saying that, look, let me use those my potentials for the benefit of mankind. And even in my career, a lot of women have excelled, and they are still excelling. And right now, I am into an NGO, and we're going into schools to educate girls that, look, you have potential. Intellectually, you are not different from that man. Yes, physiologically, you might be different. Even our physiology even makes us to be double refined than men, because we can withstand more stress than men. Yes, we could be emotional, but we are putting the emotions behind us now. We don't cry in the office anymore. We put our points down that, look, if this person is to be promoted, this is the criteria for promotion. This is the score. Let's look at it. Forget about gender. Because what is good for the goose is also good for the gander. So I think we are getting past that.
Okay, now, maybe I will start with Mrs. Igete. Sometimes when a woman pushes herself to step outside her comfort zone by taking new responsibilities or even volunteering for higher responsibilities in the office environment, she's often labeled as she's very driven. And when a man is saying, oh, she's very, she's very ambitious, she's very driven, they are really not saying it as a compliment. They are saying it in a very derogatory way. How do you, how can women go around that?
Okay, what you do as a woman is that, like now, women are more emotionally balanced now, more matured, and women are no longer laid back. Women read books, they go into the internet, and you have to rule from within. You know, if you are emotionally balanced, ruling is from within. You first of all rule your own affairs, rule your life. Then when you're ruling the outside world, people will appreciate you better. And also, women now empathize. It was in those days that women act like that. People prefer to work with women nowadays. And no, I'm telling you what is happening now. Women now empathize with their subordinates. Because they rule from within, they now know how to rule the outside world. And also that, aside that, women now know how to handle issues like a mother. You know how to handle issues. You don't just rule anyhow. You learn your environment. You have to understand your environment. That's what women do now. You study your environment. And then before you take any step, when you have studied your environment, you will not miss your step. What normally happens is that when you don't act on impulse, you are a leader. You are a servant. And you should understand people's emotion, people you're working with. You must know their makeup, know their strength, know their weakness, because they're your tools. The human resources you're working with, they are your tools. You have to delegate. So in order to delegate, you must understand their personality traits. And women do that better, because a woman is more discerning. If a woman looks at you, what's wrong with you? Why did you come late? You won't just jump at the person. You call her into your room, then she starts crying. Then you tell her what is wrong. Then you carry her just like you're treating your own baby. So women rule from within. When you rule from within, you can rule your outside world. They learn their environment. They don't just rule anyhow. When you learn your environment, you now know how to take the first step, know what to say, know how to attend to issues.
You know, when they say you are driven, like a man will come and say, oh, this might say yes. It means that you know what you're doing. It's just that you are being threatened. You know,
of
it's
course.
Just out of threat he's saying it. Because either maybe he feels you are a bit forward, or you are trying to show off, you know, maybe with your intelligence, or you are trying to correct something that you feel is not going the proper way, and you are in a position to correct it. So they make such statements so that you will feel, oh, am I too forward? Should I step back? But if you are sure of what you are doing, why not?
You should be assertive.
Yes,
you should be assertive.
For what is right.
Not aggressive, but assertive.
Yes, just being assertive. You know, you don't want to do something overly so that you are not seen to be a busybody or, you know, tagged that way. But once you stand up and you know you're speaking for what is right and you are doing what is right, because it's very important to match your actions with what you say.
Yeah.
Then men naturally respect you. It's just a natural thing. They will say whatever they want to say, but when they are looking at you face to face, they will respect your work and respect what you say, because they know that you are matching what you're saying with what you're doing.
Action.
All right, welcome back. Moving on now, we'll bring you excerpts of the press briefing of the IICC, heralding the 2018 mega conference scheduled to take place between the 8th and the 10th of July 2018 in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Happy viewing.
May I use this opportunity to appreciate the media for the support which you have continued to render towards effective reportage of insurance events, particularly previous editions of the National Insurance Conference. This edition of the conference is the fourth in the series to be held since conception by the Insurance Industry Consultative Council, which is the umbrella organization for all insurance institutions in Nigeria. It is made up of the regulatory body for all insurance parties in Nigeria, the National Insurance Commission, the professional body for insurance practitioners, Chartered Insurance Institute of Nigeria, the three trade bodies. For underwriters, we have the Nigerian Insurance Association. The brokers, we have Nigerian Council of Registered Insurance Brokers. And for the loss adjusters, the Institute of Loss Adjusters of Nigeria. The ICC, which was inaugurated on the 13th of August 2013, has been the unifying voice and point of reference for everything insurance in Nigeria. The National Insurance Conference is one of those established channels aimed at fostering intellectual and professional development of insurance practitioners and further creating a platform for networking and exchange of ideas between industry operators and critical stakeholders in the nation's economy. It is most heartwarming that the 2018 conference is being organized to further underscore the commitment of the Nigerian insurance industry to continually upscale the knowledge of insurance operators, other professionals in the financial service sector, as well as other stakeholders, about contemporary dynamics in the economic development of the country. The conference will also highlight the enabling roles of the insurance industry in achieving financial inclusion and by so doing accelerate its contributions to Nigeria's gross domestic products. The fact that access to financial services is concentrated in urban areas has limited people from the rural areas from contributing massively to growth and development of the nation's economy. It is therefore instructive to state that the theme of this year's conference, Insurance Industry and Financial Inclusion, is quite apt in view of the policy direction of government towards including all segments of society within the financial safety net. As of 2012, according to a survey by the Enhancing Financial Innovation and Access, about 40% or 35 million adult Nigerians were excluded from financial services. In order to reduce the number of excluded population, the Central Bank of Nigeria, on behalf of the Federal Government of Nigeria, launched the National Financial Inclusion Strategy in October 2012. The strategy focuses on interventions that will increase access to payments, savings, credit, remittances, pension, insurance under affordable terms and conditions. The overall aim is to empower people, promote savings, increase the level of investment by diverse economic groups, catalyze increased productivity, improve income, reduce poverty, and also promote a sound, safe, vibrant, and stable financial system.
Sir, I want to know in specific terms and in practical reality the gains, the specific gains the industry has got from this conference that is holding for the fourth time. For instance, 2 years ago, we discussed specifically in one of the sessions, we discussed how the industry can align with various government agencies to push forward or enforce these compulsory insurances. We talked about the industry paying 1% to the fire service and the fire service helping us. I want to know, is that working now? Last year, we discussed about the gains there in economic and infrastructural development for the industry. We talked about the mining and all that. What is the gain that is embedded for insurance? Well, we invited Tony Women and he's talked extensively. I want to know personally, are we seeing a glimpse of the gains, these particular things we have discussed? Is the trickle down effect coming to the industry?
I still want to build on the question she asked. I could remember specifically last year, after the program, we asked questions to actually know the efforts that were reached to make sure that most of the things that were discussed we actually implemented, and we were told that each arm of the industry were assigned some specific things to do. I want to know how far the arms that are represented there, how far they have gone on that. And secondly, I know that one of the objectives of taking this program to Abuja is to bring the insurance very close to the government. I want to know, in the area of gains, what has the industry actually gotten from the government since this program has been running in Abuja? And this year, we are expecting the Vice President to be there. He's not just coming there and we welcome him, we greet him. What are we taking to the government? What will be the take out or maybe take away? That what are we going to get from the government? Is it just to have him there and at the end to just live like that? What are we taking to the government? Thank you.
Customs service, we have also moved the discussion for the NIAB because of fake marine insurances. We have the NIAB, and I'm sure the gentleman mentioned to us earlier today, that's the chairman of NIA, that NIA also, apart from covering motor, also covers marine. And policies are being uploaded on the site on a daily basis, all in a way to curb the incidence of fake marine insurance certificates. So there are very, very huge gains in coming together as an industry, and the gains are coming in their numbers by the day. Thank you.
Before IICC, if you could remember vividly, that all arms of the industry were having separate conference. And we all noticed that we are not attracting the level of attention we needed from government. We are happy. When we go to Abuja now, what scenario we have 2-3 ministers at worst attending our conference? It's a big mileage for us, and we're happy about it. IICC conference is not the place to go and give government your shopping list. No. What it's all about is interaction and attention. The channels of communicating your requests or your pleas are there. And specifically, as you mentioned, don't forget the fundamental issue with us in this country is that all insurance laws are passed by the federal government. And most of these things cannot be enforced without the cooperation of state government. Most of you here are aware of the kind of engagements NICOM is having with state governments. Specifically, you can quote examples. The issue of fire safety, NICOM has a committee with fire service now that are working on the implementation. And some states have now taken initiative for the compulsory third parties insurance. You cannot sit down in Abuja and just pass a rule to all the state government. No, you have to engage the states one by one.
And And that is our time on the program this week. Many thanks for being a part of it. Do join us again next week for a fresh package. But in the meantime, feel free as always to connect with us on all our social media platforms. Join us live every Wednesday on Niger FM 102.7 by 9:45 a.m. for our Pidgin English program, Waiting Insurance They Do Sef. Also tell your folks in the East to listen in to Waiting Insurance They Do Sef every Thursday by 12:30 p.m. on Odenibo 99.1 FM, Obosi, Anambra State. Once again, my name is Margaret Mary Osiobor. From the entire crew, until next time, it's goodbye.